channels rather than just that. I don't know that I am. A little confusing. I'm getting the in palette color. Yeah, it's doing all my palette stuff. So, oh, that might be part of it. I mean, it's using my palette system, which probably is currently veering towards more red things. But see, this is where this comes in handy. When I switch over to the color to red, it's going to use my primary color during gameplay. Right, now I've got a ring. I've got a ring to play with. Don't take that out of context. You know what I meant. So I'm animating here. There we go. It's kind of like, I like it kind of swooping in and dipping as if it's coming out of the world. Then the ring expands. But of course, that sucks because the ring is not getting thinner. That's what I wanted in the first place. So can I animate this ring? Can I fuck, apparently? What a load of shit. So it's not like a it's not like a render texture type thing. You can't. I think because images are typically shared, right? They're shared by things. So I have to actively put in an extra little script now to both expose this, so it's in a nice handy place to animate, but also to make an instance of that sprite material so that I can have multiple ones, so that when I'm animating the values on this ring image, it's not going to affect every single sprite that's also using this, which is what you want for nice batching. But as I say, in this case, I'm willing to break batching because I know that there's only going to be like maximum 2 or 3 of these things on the screen at once. So whatever, 2 or 3 more draw calls. I'm currently running at about 20 draw calls for the entire game, so like that's fine. This is my indulgence right now. But that means I'm gonna have to do a fancy bullshit script. Let's see. It's going to be a UI script. It's going to be a sprite material accessor. I guess. Yeah. There we go. Oh, and I'm getting a little bit of timeout. Okay, cool. Now, let's jump in there. So this is a lot of workaround for like what I thought was going to be easy. In some ways I thought it might have been harder. I had some other ideas I wanted to try out. Involving encoding and decoding from a vertex color through to a shader color. But I haven't had to go that far. But this is the annoying shit. This is just like fixing a fairly obvious and common thing that you might want to change with a shader on in the UI system. This would be much easier if it was just a mesh, but it's not a mesh, it's a sort of secret mesh. All the UI images that you put into a canvas get clustered together into one almighty mesh, or at least probably one almighty mesh per shared between each sprite sheet you use, and then that's also cut up into each custom material you might use. Typically you wouldn't. I'm doing it for my weird color system, which I'm going to show you at the end of this. Now let's make a public material, and that's going to be our sprite material. This is another thing that's going to be fucking annoying as shit, but let's try this. Execute on in edit mode. Yeah. Not a fan of this. On enable. Now on enable should get called, I think, when you select it. If you're in execute edit mode, I'm a bit rusty there. I could be wrong, but basically we're going to do a little function which is like instantiate our material. Okay. On enable is going to call that. That will probably at runtime be called by whatever. It's fine. We just want our own copy of shit. So we're going to do a private material It's going to be, sorry for the clacky keyboard, but it makes me code harder, so there you go. We're going to make an instance of the sprite material, just like this kind of copy which lives in this particular space, and that's the one that we're going to be fucking around with. Now, we could access, like, let the animation system directly access the material, like this shown sprite material, and even make this one shown and edit that one, but I don't. Then in offline mode, when it's not playing, then this doesn't necessarily exist, this sprite material. So do I want to do that? The answer is no. I want to say fuck that. I want to do a public float radius. Now, the radius thing is, it's not the radius, no, it's the width, line width. The line width is the only thing I want to control at runtime. The other stuff I'm going to have set up, and probably I will copy paste that value that I had in the material, because although it's a magic number, like, give a fuck. I'm going to eyeball it, put it in. So there's my line width. Void late update. So late update I do rather than update, because late update will be executed after the animator has a go at all the values. So I'm going to be animating that value. It's public, so it can be seen, so it can be animated. Then I'm going to affect this instance. I'm going to change its set. Where is it? Sprite material.set float. The name of the float is line width, funnily enough. That's what's good to have a good naming convention for everything and sticking to whatever cases you have, because I can do that without even looking. Here we go. Yay, it is line width. I'm correct. I also have a small amount of memory, which also could have fixed that problem. Okay. That's set to that. However, that's calling stuff by string is disgusting. I'm not going to live with that. So I'm going to do private int, call it line width ID, and that's going to be shader dot get its property to ID. Handy shit. Handy, handy, handy shit. So now you've cached off a value here, line width. You'll see that float has two overloads, or it does when resharper works. One of them, oh yeah, here we go, one overload. Oh, there's a gap. Right, space. Oh no, no, okay. I can't show you the hover over, but yeah. It's got a string, which everyone uses. Disgusting. Should never do that. Instead, you want to get this thing. The reason you can do this here is because this is kind of like, it's a sort of static thing. It's just like a, not static, but it's a hash tree, right? So it takes a string and it turns it into a unique value. And this just gives you a very minor speed boost, but since we're doing it every single goddamn frame, because of animation, yeah, we want that speed back. It's also going to be multiplied by the number of times that we use it, so those are speed earnings, and you want those. Right. Let's get back to this. So we know we've got it on here. We got this guy. This is going to pop up with all my cool shit. If it hasn't crashed, it has crashed. Instance doesn't. Yeah, as material. Nice. So give me that shit. Nope, still not. Maybe I need to say instantiate rather than instance. Okay, so here's the real drawback, but also where I excel, which is that I'm pretty damn good at animating stuff. Oh, and I put it on the wrong thing, so I'll just copy that out. I'm good at animating stuff like via maths and having an idea of tangential curves and this kind of stuff. It's not that that's ideal. I think it would be nice to work in the most organic way possible, like a sculptor, you know, really getting into the curves and things and manipulating and moving by hand even. But unfortunately, we have the tools we have. We kind of have to learn to live with them a little bit. And why is that sliced? In no way does that need to be sliced. Keep it simple. Preserve the aspect, but keep it simple. Okay. That's probably fucked with my distances as well, but this guy as well, hiding as a sliced. You don't need sliced if you're not changing the size, the portrait and stuff size. Okay. Just keep hitting apply there, like my life depends on it. And we're back to the rings. So we've got no sprite, because we're not going to pass any sprite data. So that won't be passed through to this custom material. We've got the color as red, because I'm using a custom color system. And if I go to the animator in the world view, start the animation even on the world, I can sort of show you the kind of shit that happens here. So there's my intro animation, and it's just kind of cycling through a bunch of different colors, different curves. So there's the background color there. That gets animated. Woo! See the curves? So it goes to red back and forth. And if I scroll down here, you can actually see them whizzing through the different colors. Yeah. So there's that. And you can see all these curves. These are just me knowing, like, these are all flattened curves, for instance, because you want there to be an acceleration to a lot of the things you do. Especially if it's in a passive mode, you want it to be flowing and simple if you want to get that sort of cadence to it and keep people's emotions calm. If you do something like both tangents free, you can break the relationship and make them a very spiky kind of animation. But as you go through that, it will be like, no, I don't like it. It will bounce. It will bounce. It will be a sudden change in velocity. And you know, I'm talking about velocity in terms of our color. That's ridiculous, right? Well, not necessarily. There's a lot of times when you'll see different transitions happening with color, and you'll notice that it just kind of goes like a robot, like from here to here, just start end, and there'll be no kind of like ease in, ease out to it. You'll be able to feel it, and it just feels cheaper somehow, unless it's intentional. But when it's a straight fade from, linear fade, where it just starts instantly at full velocity and then ends suddenly. There's almost a psychology to the curve itself, in that if you have the acceleration and the deceleration, you are getting people used to the start off, and also you are telegraphing the end, because people can feel the deceleration of any kind of animation, and they can almost eyeball in time and in space when and where they're going to stop before it happens. So giving animations curve is giving them the observer a kind of insight into where you're going. It leads the eye. They don't, when they already know it's slowing down to a stop, they don't have to be constantly thinking about the stop. They're like, oh, okay, I get it. We're going to stop in a second, aren't we? It's like a train coming to a halt. They're like, I can tell we're going to stop. And we're going to stop up there on the curb, you know. So that's worth thinking about in all the animation stuff that you do. Now, what was I actually doing this whole thing for? Let's go here. So yeah, I'm going to have to do this a little bit blind. I'm going to drag this guy on here. That'll be the object, that'll be the material that we instance, and then the line width will be changing the line width value on the instance that we have, and that will only happen at runtime, which is why I'm going to be animating this shit blind. But I can kind of test it out just by looking here. I can go to this guy. Now we're starting with our radius of, oh no, I didn't want to fuck with the radius because it goes outside of bounds. I want to have a thick, healthy thing there. Right, there's that. So a line width of 2.8 let's call it 2.5 as our upper bounds. It's the thickest line I'd ever want. And then pull, and the radius is at, for aliasing, let's call it 0.4. I'm not going to touch those values, but well, I won't touch the radius anymore. 0.4 is our radius. And I can change the line width. That's fairly nicely, I mean, it's got a little bit of too much kind of fall off there. But I'll tweak that in a second. I want to get to the animatey bit, because I've been talking for like over an hour. And the fucking stream's still running, I cannot believe it. Alright, next up. How many people got? 2 people on stream. Well, this will be going up on the YouTube as well, so you can catch up later. Thinking, next. So we got our animation. Our ring appears. Boom, there it is. There's the guy. It's just scaling up. Now, from my previous graphic, the previous graphic was obviously like well outside of that, so I want to start this ring with that chosen graphic. I'm going to look at the ring's size delta curve, and this curve probably wants to start up twice as big as it was at the beginning. Yeah, so this is when it kind of starts to appear. You can see here I've got easing in kind of curves. Now, hold shift. Now I can eyeball this. I'm going to make it so that this kind of belongs to the outside edge of that circle. Right. So now it's growing, or is it? No, it's not. The overall circle is growing, but the ring isn't growing with it. So that's the circle delta here going up and down. So I want to select both at once, and then I can see them in concert. See here that this starts growing, so therefore I want the ring, its keys there, to grow up kind of about the same rate, and then they'll split. They diverge out here in terms of shape. Okay? But the important thing here is probably to kind of carry the momentum that this one has built up. So actually this is a good place to say this guy wants, this left-hand guy wants to be linear. Both of them, the X and the Y, on the left. And why? It's going to be a launching ramp for this one. This one's going to carry on the velocity that the other one had. And if it's going to carry on the velocity, it should match that velocity. Left tangent linear. You see here that this right tangent does want to be, this wants to be flat. It says it's broken, it's flat. So now we can accelerate in this. We get to this kind of crescendo, this launch point, boom, and we've separated out. But we're matching the speed because these are parallel. So up they go at the same rate. And then explode out, and then it's actually accelerating out and away. Now this is where I want to start fucking with the line width. It's going to start at whatever it was at. I need to copy in that, so I'll turn off recording for a second. UE ring image, here we go. There's the line width that we start with. That's the one that I can see on my screen, and it looks nice enough, you know. I'm going to go back to the ring BG, and for the default value, that's always going to be that. Hit apply, boom. So when I see it on screen, when I'm editing, it will be at 0.8. There we go. And so you can see that there, yeah. And in fact, I also want to increase that scale, so it's now matching roughly what I had on the animation. The animation values are going to overwrite those, so that's fine. It's just good to not have too much discrepancy between the animated version and the sort of regular live unanimated settings. So, and the reason this is blue here is because the blue will the blue is using the same palette system, and it will use the background color, so it gives you kind of a nice negative space behind this whole area. Right. Now, so we're at line width 0.8. I also want to do a quick edit to this. I always love doing this. Range between, and we'll call it 0.1, and then, what was it? A nice value for the uppermost width was, yeah, the absolute uppermost width I would probably want is 2.3. Right, this is just handy. It's a little thing, gives you a slider handle when you go to look here. But if you switch to your debug version of Inspector, then you will, oops, wrong thing, yeah, I meant here, yeah. If you switch to debug, it'll go back to your regular layout with the values. But yeah, just nice to have, and it's there, and I can use that during this. So here's the starting point. So I'm going to nudge this around. That's my lazy-ass way of getting a key in place, and put it to 0.18. So from here to here, it's the regular line size. It's affected by the composite scale. I'm going to hit K. I'm going to see where do we fade out to. We fade out about there. If I take a look at this delta, I can, yeah, I really want to match it to the other key that's already there. Or what's the point? Like, I don't know, you can kind of make those obviously part of the same thing. Ooh, interestingly here, this is flat, right? So there's a little kink with the animation here. The speed is linear, and then it stops for a moment, and then starts to accelerate. So what you want to do is make this tangential. You want to make both of them tangential. That's where Unity has a bit of a shit. It can only like grab one of these Bezier slots at once. So it might be worth setting this to auto, maybe? Now auto, yeah, not what I want. I want a linear growth in the end, and you can't do auto on the right hand tangent only. I could do linear. Nope, again, there's a kink there. So this is where, this is like the upper edge of what you're really allowed to get away with by editing in this software. But honestly, it's the only fucking animation software I'm really got to grips with. One pro tip, if you drag out very far, you get way more fidelity along here. So if you're being very particular about matching that, you can do that. And then where's the red one? I'll isolate the red one. And it's screwed me there. But yeah, really what I want to be doing is drawing out a line along this, making sure that's roughly tangential, and then there won't be a hitch in the animation. Flash it out. Okay, and then we're going to get back to this custom ring line, and I wanted to highlight the ring keys so that the point at which we get to 0 line width is, if I hit K here, it'll introduce a key to every object that doesn't have one. Funnily enough, everything else did have it on there. I'm pretty sure that it's only the ones that you select which will do it to. And at that point, I need to go and edit this thing's line width to get sort of a happy value. It's probably down to 0. In fact, yeah, fuck it, it's just 0. I want it to disappear over time, so the value 0. Where's he gone? There. So let's get to this key, disappearing key, and we'll see that I've still got it set to fucking. Well, anyway, so there's 0 there. I'll go back to this, set this guy back now, because this is not part of any component in any object being animated. I kind of have to maintain this myself and worry about it getting changed, but yeah. Now, if I do an execute in edit time, it's going to fuck up badly. However, when I play, hopefully this works. Oh, and actually the curve is bad here. Look, it's making itself get thicker before it's even started. There. Oops. So I'm selecting this, right click, both tangents, no, just flatten that. It'll accelerate out. Again, we want to look at that compared to its own speed. What's it do? Oh, and then these two are different sort of orders of magnitude of range, so seeing them side by side is going to be tricky, because this is going between 0 and 1, and the other one is going between, God knows, lots, pixel values. So between a bunch and a bunch. Oh, interesting. That alpha is going down past 0. I never like that. Even though it'll be clamped off, again, the fact that it basically shatters through a color ceiling is going to feel wrong. So there we go. So this line is it's growing out. Looks about right. The line width will animate at runtime now, probably, if I have anything to do with it. Just double checking the script. That should be fine. Now hit apply. Delete that. And let's have a quick go of the game. My sound is turned down, so I don't get computing feedback, right? And yeah, frames a little bit low because I'm OBSing this entire thing, but forgive. And here's the one. Now that won't do anything. Oh yeah, I meant to say the radial ones already are working in a 3D space where the lines are animated, line width is animated out. Now here comes my guy. Are we working now? Are we animating? We're not. And I know why this is. It's because we need to actually, at runtime, set this sprite material that we've instantiated onto our own object. Right. So that will be, let's find our own sprite. Or it's an image, isn't it? And the image is part of Unity engine.ui. Image. Image. Then on enable, just as we're doing this, I guess it's only going to be a one-time thing, really. This, I thought I might do this in execute and edit mode shit, but it's not going to happen. So go back to the more straightforward, guaranteed, very fast. A week there. It's the first thing that gets fired whenever something gets created. Before start happens and before anything else. I only need to do this once ever for the thing. Once it's assigned, it's fine. Get component of type image and image and image dot material. Does it have a shared material concept? I don't think it does. Nope. Material is equal to sprite material. Oh, no, I'm doing that in the wrong place completely. There. Just do it the one time. In fact, at this point, fuck it, don't even do that as a separate thing. I thought I might to do some stuff to make it work during editor time, but I think that's going to be kind of a mess. So just keep it simple. Animate it blind. Now, hit play again. It's thinking. Okay. Here we go. Here's the game. And it comes. On United States. Kaboom, starting the run. There's a nice explosion there, but no pop-up for points yet. There we go. Ah, that did it. Don't know, saw it. We'll have to look again. It's slow-mo. In fact, I better double check my eyes with this one. Okay, so there's our guy. Step forward. See if we can't find this guy. called a pop-up. And there's a clone there. Clone pop-up. Right. Oh no, it's the other one. So there were two out at once. Am I not deleting these after I've created them? That'd be embarrassing, wouldn't it? They're also placed in a very strange 3D UE labels. Yeah, that's fine. Right. Ring. Ringu. There's the value. It's at 0.8. It's not showing yet. It's about to. Because animation kicks in. There's our ring. So we've got kind of, that's maybe a little worrying thing, is that the quad is much bigger and therefore it's going to have more, it's more overdraw spatially, which is a shame. But I want these fucking lines to thin, and they're getting thinner. They're getting less alpha too. You know what I'll do? I'll not animate the alpha out because you can see it getting thinner just. Yeah, no need to alpha. Ring BG anims A. Text color, yes. I'm going to remove that property. Boom. And right. Hit save. Try one more time. I really favor. Oh shit! How embarrassing! All right. Well, that's the last time I try and. Oh, you can't. I can't show you all this stuff. How am I going to do this? I'm going to quickly switch to this mode. Hello, and I just need to not show anyone the secret other things that I'm working on. Right. Because of the project window in Unity, I mean. Now, does OBS just pick that up? Does it figure it out? I think maybe the stream stopped. No, it hasn't. I'm there. My project takes a fair amount of time to load because there's just these very large number of quite heavy meshes. And it's just audio for the mesh. A single time something is one individual file and there's loads of them, it's going to be more parsing and stuff. Funnily enough, I mean, loading times on the mobile are pretty acceptable. And once it gets going, it's all static geometry, so it doesn't go slowly at all. It actually flies. Pretty proud of that. There's enough meshes in there that it breaks down to, I don't know, an order of, well, let's have a quick look at the stats here. If I hit play, go back to share screen and maximize on play. Oh, better switch back on OBS. Let's go to scene. Yeah, that's the one. So there's this lot. Here's the stats. Batches. Here we go. 18 batches up to 24 there. 18. When I hover over it, it triggers up because the object being hovered over is just enabled. It's not static. It's one bit of dynamic stuff that I give myself. We're saving 555 possible mesh draws through static batching. So the way you do static batching is make sure that you've got meshes which are light enough, meshes plus materials which are light enough to be drawn inside of a cluster of these things, which means less than 900 operations in the mesh, which typically means 900 stored values. Sorry. Oh god, I'm rusty on this. But yeah, everything that you want to be in a batch, first and foremost, you make sure that that is childed to a static object. It does not necessarily. Oh, in fact, no. It's not whether it's the child object that's static. It's simply the object itself must be static. Then it's put into a this kind of combined mesh thing here. Now, it only really tells you that there's one, but there's actually multiple ones for the different material you're using. So that will create you a new combined mesh. And also, if one thing is being used loads, like I know for a fact this one you use a shitload, and there's loads and loads and loads of meshes using it, it will hit an upper limit and it will then create an extra batched mesh. So that's why it's not like one mesh call, it's 18 or so. But yeah, if I turn off all the world graphic stuff, maybe just leave behind that, and I step one, let's see. And if I turn off the main canvas as well, see if that removes us a draw call. So we've got 5 batches here, and that's probably coming from the crosshairs. So I turn off those. Right. Batches 2, interesting. Now, yeah, paths, quite possibly, yeah. Batches. Huh, it's not that then. Well, anyway, turn back on just this. So we know we're at 2. Turn back on all the gameplay 3D stuff. Go up again. Batches 5. So there are 5 static meshes going on there, which are just, they have so much stuff in there. They're just like big combined, like they're every single little mesh you can see in here, all thrown into one big mesh, right? Not these green ones. Those are actually for collision. They're flattened out so that the because it's going to be more accurate, and you're going to be able to have a lower poly collision mesh, and you don't want to do this on a sphere, because you'll get like lots of weird kinks in whatever mesh you have if you spherize that. But the mesh itself here, for the visual stuff, is a little bit higher poly, but you don't interact with it in terms of collision. And it's not the highest thing in the world, but this shit runs on mobile. So yeah, you just pick your perspective, your zoom level nicely, and nobody has to know. The other thing I'm quite pleased about is if we watch this shaded wireframe, maybe that'll make it a bit easier to see. And you'll start to see, oh crap, stuff's going to break because stuff isn't turned on. There we go. Start to see lines appear. Oh no, you don't see them. But yeah, they're lovely little fringy things. Oh no, I need to hit the United States. And then that flattens out. And all the little lines actually grow. They grow out. Because that's something I animate as well, is the line values. See, now you've got separated stuff here. That wasn't without a lot of work. That was really tough to all get together, and it's just been about pulling together and combining lots of different things. Yeah, okay, I think I may be done for now, because that worked. But yeah, let's take a look at the pop-up happening. Pop-up points. So let's do it. United States. Okay, didn't quite video if that was correct. Yeah, that worked. It does look a little aliasy, so I'll work on that fall-off value. But principally, we've got like a nice line which doesn't fade, it just gets thinner. Right. So yeah, as I say, the drawbacks there are well, has been a bit awkward to animate. Have to do it slightly blind, and it does have shitty overdraw. It's just like a big quad, but at least it's only one quad, right? That's good. It hasn't completely shat on the batching. You want to keep batches under 100, and so far we're safe there. Where's my Washington DC here? This is hard to do without the crosshairs. Okay, Malaysia, I know what Malaysia is there. Switzerland. Yeah, it's very, very laggy while OBS is running. It's normally hyper smooth. Oops. Now that is definitely a bug. Vienna should not be sticking up central like that. Anyway. So we're good, That's just like, I don't know, I wanted to do some development today. I had an idea that I wanted to show this little trick off. Is it a trick? I don't know, but it's technically less memory space, I guess. And with a little bit of tidying up, I can turn all this kind of glom of lines of code into like something a little bit more straightforward. There's probably some noise in here which can be removed. But principally, that worked quite nice. So yeah, find the distance from the center of the UV coordinates, multiply that by 2 because it's going to be in the range 0, 1. Divide it by a radius so you have a kind of nice handle to stretch around for how much room it occupies. And you're going to need that so that you can take into account the line width. Then, oh yeah, you're doing this stuff to turn it into a kind of donut, a donut type map, or I don't know if donut's quite right, but sort of a bowl, double-sided bowl, I guess you'd say. Pull it back. Do a bit of aliasing here. So 10 was a bit too harsh. Really, I can make this softer, much softer. Maybe 2 is too soft. Let's try 5. Then let's go look at that in the preview. Let's look at T shade, no, not shader, material, UI, ring image. There we go. So that's pretty nice. I'm not gonna remember what this line width was, but if I take it down to almost nothing, that's nice. Yeah, you can see some aliasy stuff going on there. Maybe just 2? Is that too soft? Probably too soft. Ooh. And the reason that that's reddish is, again, the palette system is giving a quite heavy bias towards red right now. Right, anyway, so that's a good fun thing. I think I'm done doing this now. And very nice to have you along for the ride, even if there's only a few people. But I'll make sure this goes up on YouTube as well, so you can catch it later. Have a lovely time. Maybe I'll play a bit more in front of your eyeballs. What kind of crazy shit is happening here. It's fun to see both things happening at once, isn't it? Oh, and you can't even see that side because its back face culling is off. There we go. Spheria. Where I'm half from. I've got to fix this thing eventually. The labels I've moved down into a kind of world space thing, and it's working nicely when you've got sort of more conventional point of view here. Stockholm? No, come back. Nigeria. Right next to Cameroon, that is. Israel's small, but I've got some auto zooming which happens. On for you, Simon. Uganda. No, we don't Uganda. Nope. I'm going to have to make these other bits of these pop-up text a little clearer now compared to the other stuff. They're just not quite working. Okay, and here we go. Here's where you get the thrashing of loads of points. But it works. It works pretty alright. Right. I'm going to sign off there. Thanks for coming along. Catch you guys later. Bye.